Yo, dog,
Yeah.
we heard you like guard up, so we put guard up in your guard up so you can
Yeah.
guard your up.
First of all, nerf defy.
Qi
Here.
Wangyou is a character who's really, really bad at activating wood because their tier 1 can't activate wood, and their tier 2 definitely doesn't activate wood like 5 times every fight. So they don't have like 6 different ways to activate wood already, so they really needed this one.
5 or 6 hours before this patch was announced, I was like, okay, I'm never taking scroll again.
I don't think Long Yeo has been top tier this season, but I do not know if they needed this much of a buff. Hello, we're the fellow cultivators, and you found us. I'm Subnova.
I'm Aquilo.
I'm Red.
And I am Abyss.
And welcome back to another episode of the Unrestrained Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about all the new stuff that's been going on in this season. Tianji Sigil. So, let's start off by just talking about our general thoughts. How have we been feeling about the season so far? It's been a couple weeks. I know I haven't been playing as much as the rest of you guys, but how have you guys been feeling?
It's been pretty alright. I've enjoyed it. I have enjoyed the sigil gaming part of it specifically. I have not enjoyed the game the past 2 days in specific because I keep losing, but for the most part, I'm really enjoying the variety of sigils I get to use, and the climb is going pretty well.
As for me, I don't know. I thought mechanically it would be, a little bit too complicated because you have to navigate between two different windows, your game board and your sigil shop. But it turns out that it's not too complicated. I mean, you don't have to. It's not too APM intensive. Yes, you do need to rest your finger on the F key, which is the key used to switch to sigils. But other than that, it's all right. We can get deeper into it, but that's not the point. Why? It's not the point.
I do
Yeah,
wonder.
since we all know sigils, the F stands for fizzles.
I do
Damn it.
wonder if Subnova will have some hotter takes about the APM issue because I remember that you were raging a little bit in one of the streams about the about the sudden demands on your attention from having to mess
Yes.
with all the sigils.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as I mentioned, I have not been playing much lately, and this is mostly because of the APM demands, which I think overall aren't entirely unreasonable, but like Red mentioned, you do kind of have to have your finger over the F key at all times, which kind of sucks when you're on Steam Deck and don't even have an F key.
I
And
think,
doubly sucks when you don't really have good Wi-Fi and frequently just disconnect in the middle of every game.
yeah, your Wi-Fi is uniquely terrible, I must say.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Definitely made the season rough for me, which is sad because I do think mechanically the season has been really, really enjoyable. Just
Yeah.
it's a bit much for how little time I have given the timer lost due to connection issues.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think I've found a lot of times, and maybe this is a skill that has to be tightened up, like going beyond 6K or something, but I found so far I've been mostly just throwing in general sigils through phases 1 through 4, and half the time they're semi-broken, and I'm just focused on building a board that makes sense. And then once you hit 5, you play the game as intended, and you actually have enough time to adjust your sigils and cards at the same time.
I think it'll vary from character to character too. Because there will be characters that don't really care about that many sigils at all and can just play generics. But then there are other characters when I was playing Drunk, a big thing with the early game was spending a lot of sigil rolls on tier 2 to find a young seedling.
Young
And
Seed
that does a lot more for your tempo than any of the cards can do.
Yeah.
The Sword Intent early gamers also are probably rolling for Sword Intent sigils.
Yeah, Flying Fang sigil is great. We have a Catch Cicada sigil on tier 3, which did get nerfed, and we'll talk more about that in a bit.
Yeah.
And those are just a couple examples of the powerful mid-game sigils that can like for certain builds be a lot more powerful than just rolling for cards would be.
Yeah, that's true. Although I feel like the sword intent people kind of it's not so bad even if you're rolling sigils because you kind of just like build the same board every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thought APM is not so bad. But yeah, I think so far I think the sigils have been pretty interesting. There's a few kind of egregious things that are just like annoying, all the like lure enemy stuff and whatever. But
Yeah, speaking of egregious early game sigils, let's talk about Lure Enemy.
Oh god, they're enemy. Okay.
Akula, you want to talk about Lure Enemy a bit?
Yeah, sure. It's I forget the exact HP modifiers, but it starts at phase 2 and pretty much says next time you gain a debuff, apply 2 flaw to the opponent.
Yeah.
EX sigil. From what I've heard, it can be a little bit painful to be on the receiving end of.
Yeah.
2 flaw is a lot of flaw indeed.
At first, I don't know. I think that early on or before the season was released, I was looming and dooming over the Lyra sigil. I mean, 2 flaw this early on, especially like tier 2. God, that's gonna be pain in the ass. But then I remember that, oh, we actually do have a fair amount of counterplay to it. For example, Elixirist, what do we got? We got Exorcism Elixir, Fulu, what do we got? We got Calm Incantation. Sure, other side jobs or strategies or sects may not have early access to debuff denial, but other options should be close enough, like the exercise evil sigil, which lets you reduce your debuff. And you can get that stuff, I don't know, as early as tier 3, but again, the idea of like forcing stuff, forcing sigils, forcing cards is it's a bit iffy. It has always been an issue. But yeah.
I found
It's
the
short.
sigil
There
modifier. It
are
is
ways.
2, 4, 6, 8 HP at tiers 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, all right.
I
But
think
yeah.
one thing that has stood out to me about Lure Enemy is that one of the things we pointed out is how strong it is for being a tier 2 sigil in particular. But I think an important counterpoint to this is it's not actually very good on tier 2. Like, you can play it with like Gale Shadowclaw, I guess, but even there, you're only getting the flaw on 1 card instead of 2. And your attacks, like maybe it'll be like 4 damage. That's like on curve at best. So like while it is admittedly like absurdly strong late game, I think it being available early doesn't necessarily make it super oppressive in those early stages of the game. And then late game, you have to compare it to like tier 5 sigils at that point, and then it seems a lot more reasonable.
Yeah, no. Um, I do agree that yeah, it turns out to not be as strong as we thought it would be. I don't know. Playing against new enemy early on, it just feels like fighting who's against Fang Shu, but oh, it's on a different spec now, and everyone has access to law more now because it's on the spec that actually inflicts more debuff than an
But
average.
on the flip side, it's also on the sector that can use flaw the least well.
Yeah.
In fairness, though, I think any card with a reasonably sized number on it can use flaw okay early. I don't think it's out of line. And I mean, this might just be a feature of the fact that I haven't gone quite that high in rank yet, but I find myself inflicting flaw or another debuff on the lure enemy player and messing up their lure enemy timing pretty often, which has been very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a funny application of the sigil.
Dude, I've seen some people just waste their goddamn mirror image so much that I just laugh at them.
I mean, it's kind
I'm
of awkward though,
an
right?
idiot. Yeah.
Because you have to put it on one of your first three turns, which means that it does kind of demand that you play a very like fast and aggressive board. And for tier five, you often really can't do that unless you're like, exactly playing Shaw Blue.
Oh shit, yeah.
I have seen somehow not a lot of Xiaoblue, despite that clear application. So
Same, yeah.
Lure seems alright to me because I just haven't been brutally murdered by it yet.
Seem
On the
like
topic of
they.
Shaw Blue,
Mhm.
since I think Lure Enemy has definitely been underperforming a little bit compared to like how much we were hyping it at the beginning of the season. What has
Yeah.
not been underperforming, and maybe even been overperforming on the other hand, is the physique sigils, training mechanism, and exercise fist, or fist training rather.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, question. Who decided that P1 fist training needed an extra physique on it?
Game 7 more
Yeah,
physique.
I mean, I don't think it's been breaking anything, but also it's a little bit silly because I think Tier 1 fist training was maybe the best Tier 1 sigil in the game, other than maybe like Smash Defense.
Yeah.
And now I think those two are still the best, but now fist training is even further above everything else. So, you know, interesting decisions are being made.
Well,
I see you're disrespecting Carefree Sigil.
Yeah, Carefree's the goat.
Yeah, sorry, no, Carefree's not as good as Smash Defense. I'm not gonna be convinced of this. I love
A
Carefree
bit.
Sigil, but it is not Smash Defense Sigil.
Damn.
I mean, Carefree sometimes says +1 cultivation, I guess. But
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the power of the Sigil, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
So, like, Carefree the ceiling is like +1 cultivation, and you get a pretty good attack. Versus, like, Smash Defense the ceiling is like, sometimes you play a tier 1 Smash Defense on round 12, and it deals like 50 damage.
Yeah, Smash even scales pretty damn well. It does it not. I mean, the sigil
Yeah.
itself, like one, two, two, three, four attacks, kind of messed up.
Yeah, Smash Defense Sigil is obscene.
I will say though, Crash Fist normal with the Carefree Sigil does get a little bit crazy.
Yeah, that I feel like that board has to be a meme. I don't think it's actually good, but it is very funny.
He does a
Yeah.
lot of damage.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, it does a lot of damage if you spend multiple sigil slots on your board and then get guard up.
Guard up. Oh, good.
Like, it's not bad, but I feel like if you're doing force stuff, you can do better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like it's just another instance of like Lee Man makes everything look broken.
Other than
Yeah,
that,
fair point.
yeah.
Speaking of Lehman, we've all noticed the change to this character, right? This is absolutely registered to us in game.
Oh, yes.
I mean,
Just now.
I noticed half the change.
Which half?
I noticed the once per turn on the fist one. Stick obviously was already once per turn because you can't chase multiple times in a turn unless they bring back Loong.
Thank
But I did
God.
not notice that they added that when you chase and stick, you now gain an additional 2 HP on top of the 1 chi you gain.
Once, once per turn. What is this?
Abyss, did you notice either of these changes?
no, but I don't read the text on Lee Man. Like,
honestly, fair.
Lee
No
Man
one
is a
reads
character,
the
and I don't hate this character. I would not want to play this character myself, but Lee Man is very much a character that kind of it has its niche in the meta, right? It's like Crash Fist board says, if you do nothing, I kill you in 4 turns. If you put up some guard up, I might be able to kill you in 5 turns. If I'm extremely lucky, I might be able to kill you in 3 turns. You know, it's just
Yeah.
it's kind of like a and I don't want to trash the Lee Man players, but it feels kind of like an NPC or a roguelike fight. Like you know what you're fighting, and it's a skill check for you to like beat it.
I mean, on the one hand, I kind of agree, but on the other hand, like I've been playing a fair amount of Xiaobu Force a bit, and I feel like there are these builds like Force and like Earth Tiger come to mind in particular that people talk about as like being very linear and can't be any counterplay. Like I know like
Mhm.
there have been a lot of people complaining about the guard up sigil being unbeatable for Force, and like no, not really. Force has a lot of flexibility for how inflexibly it seems to be played by a lot of people.
Yeah, I think there's maybe some subtlety, like I think maybe for the person playing the board, it's interesting because they're making these like little
Yeah.
micro optimizations. But for the
Yeah.
person like facing the board, they can kind of just like abstract across what the board is doing a little bit.
No, I 100% agree. And I also feel like that kind of describes like how I feel about the change. Like as a not Lee Man player, I don't really care that there was a change, but I'm sure like everyone who actually plays Lee Man is like, this is devastating.
Or they're saying, oh
Although I
Like
do
if there's
boy,
like -6, -8 agility in one fight, that's kind of a huge deal.
or they're just laughing that 2 HP to the bank.
That's like a whole tier 2 bodybuilding, you guys.
All the Lee main players are now happy they could play Forest Guard.
remember to activate your Forest Guard, guys.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you're right. Lee Man can play Forest Guard if they get it off of Mirage. I do kind of want to talk about Guard Up Sigil a little bit.
Yeah.
We have had a lot of conversation about Guard Up Sigil.
Maybe the most controversial sigil in the game.
Yeah.
um,
I think it's fine.
All right. All right. How so? You gotta explain
I think
yourself that one.
it's a 2-slot sigil that gives you 2 guard up. I think like the ceiling on this. Obviously, the ceiling is you block a Dharma, and it's absurd. But like, I feel like the expectation when you play a guard up sigil is that it will buy you like 1 turn. And like this kind of pans out with like how it plays against Force, where like you block 2 Crash Fists in 1 turn, and that uses your 2 guard up. I feel like 2 sigil slots for 1 turn, with like the potential downside if your opponent plays around it, is like obviously very good. But I don't think that's entirely unreasonable either. When we consider that like for 2 slots you can get things like Immortal Trapping, which is literally a full turn of value, or like Trump card that makes a card chase and deals 24 damage. Like
Mm-hmm.
2 sigil slots is a lot of value. I think guard up is entirely in line with what we expect for sigils to do at tier 5.
Yes.
if anything, I feel like the hexproof versus debuff battle has become like the more interesting, or maybe not interesting, the more like meta defining version of the play. As you said, I think guard up, because it has to be positioned in the first 3 turns and it's only 2 guard up. I don't think it hard counters most builds. And when it does, it's usually because it's used in conjunction with the real guard up elixir.
For sure, yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you're playing like if you're playing Heptastar and you strike twice a guard up and you use guard up, you can make like 8 guard up with only level 2 cards.
Yo, dog, we
Yeah.
heard you like guard up, so we put guard up in your guard up so you
Yeah.
can guard your up.
In fact, you can get 2 more guard ups. That means you get 6 in total.
But wait, there's
I play
more.
Sigil of guard up. It lets me draw 2 guard ups from my deck and add them to my hand.
On a guard up, I draw.
Did you all see the deck shared recently that had a struck twice Kothard extension max ice guard elixir?
12
Whoa.
guard up on turn 3. Very, very fair.
We love to see it.
Very fair and balanced.
I guess while we're on the topic, we can talk about Kothard Extension, which
Oh,
did get
shit.
nerfed recently. They topped off
Still my
4
favorite
HP
sigil in the game.
modifier.
Uh-huh.
It's so good. It is insane.
Sorry, what was the nerf to it? I didn't hear it, Subnova.
It went from 10 plus 10 HP to plus 6.
Oh, okay. Very important nerf there.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, it totally did so much to that sigil.
I mean, it's not
Yep.
insignificant, but it is fairly small.
It feels insignificant when you're using code threat. Like I think you
All right,
would have
real
used
talk.
it before and after it in much the same way.
Real talk. Who thinks Code Threat Extension is the best tier 5 sigil in the game?
Me.
I would agree.
I think it's one of the best.
What do we
It,
think
it it's
competes with it?
Yeah, certainly it's in contention. I mean, if we're thinking about just like really strong things, there's like the like brain dead blacksmith one.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh
We can talk
right.
about that one in a bit. I think that one's rather overrated.
I do think it's overrated, but it takes him, like, it completely enables a build, which is
Yeah. It
makes
certainly does more immediately than Code Red Extension does.
yeah.
Mhm.
I think code threat's flexibility and like just the sheer number of use cases for it kind of puts it above everything else for me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For me, the main thing that would be competing with it, weirdly enough, is probably one of the mechanism ones, like Mechanism Engine maybe, or Mechanism Sword Shock.
Yeah. God, Mechanism Deer. Mechanism Deer it's also a good one, you know. Sure, extra increased attack, but God, the the amount of reach that you have access to is much, if not sorely needed. Notably in like woodfire strategies. Not to say that woodfire is already in a bad spot, absolutely not. But yeah, it makes woodfire seem a little bit more lethal now. All you gotta do is like play deer along with other mechanism generators. But often or not, I've seen myself run other sigils to, you know, counter people more. But other than that, if I am in a contest of strength, then sure, I am fine with deer. And yes, I am going to feast like a king.
Red.
Yeah, and I think this. Oh, sorry. You want to?
I just wanted to say, can you remind us of the text on deer?
Deer makes it so that okay, so deer works with two different archetypes. Um, I think that with it lets you consume two mechanism runes to when you play wood card to gain one increased attack. And if you play metal, you can consume two runes to gain three penetrate. I have never used I haven't used I don't know metal since like forever. But I understand that, you know, three penetrate could be decent. However, as
Yeah.
for wood, yeah, I have played enough wood to tell you that yeah, it's pretty nice. Pretty good even.
Yeah. And I think it's worth noting in the context of power level here. Like Mechanism Deer is really good in wood, but it is also like very easy to tech against. Like a board that's hitting you a bunch of times early, like Cloud Sword, Mechanism Deer is going to be kind of terrible because they're just going to destroy all your runes.
Yeah.
And this is like a weakness of like the generically powerful sigils that you don't really see with Code Thread Extension. Like that sigil just doesn't really have any weaknesses other than being 3 slots. It's just always good.
Mm-hmm.
It notably does kind of suck if what you intended to co-thread extend gets cited, but then you're probably still co-thread extending something that isn't terrible anyway.
Yeah.
What a shocker that the best counterplay to a Code Thread Extension side is your own Code Thread Extension side.
Well, they're not necessarily co-thread extending a site, I will say.
It could be
True,
anything.
they might be Code Thread Extensioning something far scarier, like a Prop Omen or a Formicide or a Great Spirit.
The prop omen co-threat board is definitely one of my favorite things to kind of emerge recently.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of TSY using co-threat on their stillness or their great spirit.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah, so
really good
Topic of Pantheon.
Oh
TS4.
yeah.
We got some Tianji nerfs after how long have we been asking for these? 2 seasons? Three?
You
4?
know what we've been asking for a while though? Nerf Defy specifically.
Yeah, so
Defies
we got
the,
nerfs to Defy and we got nerfs to Tancheon as a whole.
the
Shall we
tyrant
read
is
them out?
Aquila, you want to walk us through what those nerfs were?
Alright, first of all, Nerf Defy. Whenever you add defense and HP, deal 50%, not 60% damage to your opponent, and it is rounded down instead of up.
yeah.
Next,
Doesn't work with
we
Birdie Wind anymore.
so it doesn't have that terrible interaction with Birdie Wind. And speaking of Birdie Wind, Tentrion now loses 1 cultivation when taking Birdie Wind, and loses 1 cultivation when Avatar of Birdshade, that's the cheat death, is triggered.
Yeah.
So
So,
basically what's going on is Tancheon, their best board, or arguably best board in the Fortune Teller Healer, got its key piece nerfed. And then additionally, they got -2 speed, essentially. So they will not be able to outspeed a majority of the cast for free just by taking all their innates anymore.
Yes.
my real
She has to
question
be
is,
harder.
do they still take Birdie Wind?
I think no.
The ones I've seen have, but it doesn't have the good interaction with Defy anymore, and it's -1 cultivation. I'm not sure why you would, really.
I
It means
guess
you
it's
can't
just
break through on time anymore without having like 2 normals in play, I think.
I think it's just a matter of habit, right? I don't know. Like the tier 3 that lets you draw a card and gain defense. Ooh, I shall take it. Oh wait, -1 gold. I am sad.
Yeah. I mean, people were taking Birdie Wind before it said draw 1 card. And it's still better than how it originally was. So, like, I don't think it's incorrect to take it, but I also think draw 2 cards is probably better.
Yeah, either way, we will never know. But yeah, that that sure was quite a nerf. It's we have been waiting for it, and it's here. We wouldn't think that these nerfs would ever come. Anyway, speaking of nerfs, you know who else has quite a bunch of changes? Qi Wangyou.
Or actually, maybe we should call them now No Qi Wangyou.
So yeah, Qi Wangyou has was it she went through so many or at least like what 2 changes so far. Firstly, she got
But
a
one of them
nerf.
was way more significant than the other.
Yes, her tier 4. In the past, it adds 1 chi whenever you activate any 5 elements during battle. Yes, it is limited to once per turn, but now it's once per 5 elements. Oh boy. That means you can't play stuff like what Wormhole into Yup and then Vine because Vine, you know, one chi and stuff.
Yeah. To
Um,
give some context to this, Qi Wangyou's tier 2 passive lets her activate Wood many, many times in a fight. Specifically, every time you play any card that isn't a 5 elements card. So that would be like World Smash, Ultimate World Transmission, and then all the side job cards.
yeah.
So Qi Wangyou would usually be activating Wood like 3, 4, 5 times in a fight and gain 1 chi every time.
Oh yeah.
Now she can only gain 1 chi total for activating Wood. And if she wants to gain more chi, she has to figure out how to fit more elements on her board and activate them.
Yeah, I forgot to neglect that. Thanks for reminding the listeners on that. But yeah, that ever since that nerf, I haven't seen many Chilenos around. But again, I'm not high enough to, fully speak with authority. It could just be that, they're a little bit discouraged that their big and mighty tier 4 isn't as crazy anymore. But still, board was it elixirs and full moon unit strategies, I expect for them to, work to an extent, but yeah, you still have to watch your chi now. You still have to play like a normal character now. So that's something.
Well, don't worry, because in exchange for those nerfs, we got a massive, right? A massive buff to her tier 5 forget worries.
Oh yeah, we did not forget worries. It makes it so that if you put what forget worries in the goddamn pod you
The
was it
base,
no no
yeah.
no 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 it doesn't do it when you put in pod. No, it's just the tier 5 itself just activate wood spirit.
I think it is
You
if you
just
put it in the base.
Is it? I didn't
no
read it that way.
Well, the
according
wording
to
is unclear in the patch. I don't know if anyone's actually played with it yet, but
So
I mean
the
that should be
patch
telling, right? No one's actually taken forget worries because forget worries is still not a pickable card.
yeah I do
Yeah,
not
it's still not a
do
real fate. The text of the patch says the effect if this card is stored in the 5 elements pure vase at the beginning of battle, both players add 15 HP and max HP is cancelled. New effect: activate Wood Spirit. And
yeah
so I
I
think
feel like
the
if it was
fact
at
that
the start
they
of battle, it
include
would say at the start of battle activate Wood Spirit.
yeah it says that in the game as I am booting up the game right now. It
Oh, it
says
does? Okay.
okay,
at the
Well, I guess it's
beginning
well,
just a
now we have
translation
an
error.
answer. It's
yeah it
almost
says
like
at the
looking
beginning
at
of
the
each
game
battle.
tells us about the game.
Yeah, at the beginning of each
Well,
battle,
tell me,
activate
what
Wood
what
Spirit.
explains the card?
Yeah.
Reading the card.
Either way, the card is not what is important because you don't play the card, but the tier 5 itself, yeah, you just activate wood now, which is guys sure is something. That means I don't know how to feel about this one, man. Like you
So,
said, I
famously,
don't
Qi
care.
Wangyou is a character who's really, really bad at activating wood because their tier 1 can't activate wood, and their tier 2 definitely doesn't activate wood like 5 times every fight. So they don't have like 6 different ways to activate wood already. So they really needed this one.
Uh-huh.
Wink, wink.
I haven't played this character ever since the nerf, so yeah, I sure am in the demotivated demographic. Like, damn, what is a Qi Wangyou without the pre-nerf tier 4?
Yep.
Not enough
But
Qi Wangyou indeed.
But yeah,
but
I
hey,
feel like it's needed. The tier 4 has it's given her so much utility even up to like what or as long as tier 4 that yeah sure give her a slap on the wrist or whatever, hell give her a slap on the cheeks or some shit. i'm sorry I'm sorry, don't slap people, all right people, that is not good.
I thought slapping season was eternal.
Anyways, what else have we got? We got a lot of fundamental changes to character kits.
well,
I think
as one of last season's characters got nerfed, another one got her buff back. Funkshu's P5 no longer loses cultivation. Abyss, resident Funkshu player. Thoughts?
Well, my first thought is that it feels a little dangerous to call me the resident Feng Shui player because I'm just sort of playing her at the not at the 6K level, although I mean the season's
I
just
mean we're not
starting.
playing her at any level.
Right, right. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough, fair enough. Um,
We're spring chickens.
I mean, I was sort of coming to the conclusion that I think the like 5 or 6 hours before this patch was announced, I was like, okay, I'm never taking scroll again. um, I think
Oh, it's
in this season where everyone has hexproof, um, it's just not quite good enough because okay, the scroll you can play it in 2 ways. You can put it in the middle of your board, and then you get the chase weaken effect, and then on the next turn you get a chase flaw effect. The bad part of this is that her the actual scroll itself puts it has a nice chunk of Qi, but otherwise it's kind of a dead card. So more commonly, you put it in your 8th slot, which makes it so that your very first slot chases does the flaw chase, and that flaw doesn't activate until you attack, so you can basically stall and, power up a Starry Moon and eventually hit a 5 Thunders, right? This is the idea. I've found in practice, giving up the first slot, especially in this season, feels painful because it messes with a lot of Polaris slash side builds, and it's kind of the mechanism of it isn't perfect. Although probably the bigger problem is that if your board quality is a little bit low, or if your flaw gets blocked by hexproof or something, which often it is going to be, then you just don't have enough reach. You end up getting to the end of your board without killing, and then you're basically dead because your second cycle's too slow. Meanwhile, if we compare this to just taking the P4 of Feng Shui, then you have the ability to take 2 cards that what's the name of the blue one again?
Lake.
Yeah, Lake Hexagram. So on Feng Shui, Lake Hexagram makes 3 internal injury, so that will pop a bunch of hexproof. And then if you take Zhen Hexagram, or the pair of pants, as Aquilo and I have been calling it, and that makes 4 flaw when you attack. So, and this also fixes your hexagram problem. So the just increased amount of hexproof popping with these different cards means your flaw is actually likely to get up and stay up. And I think in the standard 500 board, you really need that. So the TLDR is that I still think Feng Shui is an extremely good character. I don't think this buff impacts her strength that much. I think Scroll is still not that good in the current meta because she is still really slow, even on 5, if you give her the 2 extra cultivation back. So I think...
I mean, it is a +3 cultivation, though, right? Like, it's the same as taking card draw.
In terms of, you're talking about if you have your... you leave the slots empty?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think...
Well, it's the same taking card draw, except you don't get cards.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, in terms of speed, it's the same, but in terms of card, like, what you actually get out of it, like, it might not immediately be good for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think most players play it so that you only actually get 1 cult out of it, because you only play the flaw one and not the weaken one.
I mean, that's still 2 call total.
Yeah, 1 for the card itself and 1 for its a phantom buddy that it creates. So I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that I think the buff is reasonable, and I'm still not like blown away by the power of Scroll right now. But I just want to say, don't necessarily get your pitchforks out because we're buffing an extremely strong character already.
Yeah. Well, while I do agree with you, I also think it is noteworthy that they chose to buff one of the best characters in the game rather than nerf them, as many people were calling for.
Yeah, I mean, what would you guys think is a reasonable Feng Shui nerf?
And nerf the tier 4.
Well, yeah, but what would you have it do? Just like make the numbers smaller?
I mean, it does a lot, right? Like, tone down the numbers, like maybe make Gen Hex 3 flaw, maybe make Lake Hex 2 internal injury.
Those are the main ones that see play, other than the Heaven Hex, which there's not much we can do about the Heaven Hex, to be honest.
Yeah. And I think that one's like kind of fair in the context of a tier 4 ability, as strong as it is.
Yeah, and you gotta draw the Heaven Hex in the first place, so like it feels alright.
Yeah, and obviously the Heaven Hex is not really a tier 4 ability, right? Because you don't get anything out of it until you can play Heaven Hex.
Time to stir up some controversy, though. Aquila, what are your thoughts on the allegations that Feng Shu's scroll is bad as a Yanchen player?
I know, it is cruelty. I am taking the +1 cult version that is like shitter Feng Shui scroll, to be honest. However, I did have this conversation, and the one notable thing about Fury Thunder is that it does not require you to put a horrible card on your board.
Oh, that's
I
a spicy take.
depending on your
Other than
perspective,
Fury
it kind of does
Thunder.
require you to put a
Other than
horrible card on
Fury
your board.
Thunder. And no, but another big deal that I kind of figured out while watching Abyss play the game is that Fury Thunder does not prevent me from attacking in the front half of my board.
Yeah, no, this is a
And
very
I think that
important
is pretty
downside with
significant.
scroll.
Like I love throwing in an early side, an early hit, things like that. Not being
Yeah,
able to do that with the scroll would really annoy me. So,
Absolutely.
you know,
Oh shit, yeah.
I still wish Fury Thunder was slightly better and didn't completely fold to hexproof. Please, for the love of God, give me a character that doesn't fold to hexproof at every turn.
Yeah.
But, other than that, I am happy with where Fury Thunder is in the game right now.
Don't worry, I'm sure they'll buff Fury Thunder in the next patch to say ignore Hexproof or something like that.
Trust in the
And then they'll
process.
make another sigil that says gain super hexproof that can't be ignored.
Whoa.
Do you remember the ignores defense, ignores guard up text on Xuanyan sword? 'Cause that's what that reminds me
now we're
of.
gonna have ignores hexproof, ignores exorcism elixir.
Whoa.
Oh gosh.
Maybe
But
they'll
yeah.
maybe they'll make another Heptastar character that has a stronger version of Bloodline.
Speaking of stronger versions of Bloodline, they nerfed not nerfed, buffed the other Yan siblings' Bloodline. They gave Yan Shui a starting count of 12 for Bloodline potential.
12 is a lot.
12 is a lot. It's like one
it
less.
procs to 18. That's 2/3 of a card.
Yeah, I mean, Yanshen's is 16, which is also kind of a lot. It's about half. But the thing is that Yanshen can proc that by winning things, and Yanshui has to proc it by losing things. So I feel like it's kind of fair.
Notably, it also increases the maximum amount of cultivation Yanshui can gain. If she somehow manages to drop to 4 Destiny or less without dying, she will get a total of 6 cards out of her tier 1, where she would have only been able to max out at 5 before.
Yeah. God, imagine the most viable strategy just to play all empties on round 1.
That is what I was thinking about, actually, is that if Yantra takes max on round 1, she can be +1 immediately.
Yes.
This is true. I think it's also worth noting that one of the more popular Yanshua side jobs is musician, and you can definitely try to optimize your destiny total with Kindness Tune to try to guarantee the +6 cultivation that happens every game.
Mm-hmm.
Or at the very least, +5.
I mean, +5 is all but guaranteed, but...
Is it really? Because I feel like you do kind of die a lot without getting to below 10.
Well, it was below 10 before, now it's below 22.
Yeah, which, this is fine, yeah.
Like, nowadays, +5, like, with the buff, I'm saying, +5 is the standard, and +6 is the exception. Which is kind of wild, honestly, having a character whose passive is just +5 cultivation. Even if it is slow.
Yeah.
I feel like it is fair, though. I don't know, I think Yanshui...
Yeah. I don't think it's unreasonable, and Yanshu is definitely one of the weaker characters in the game, but it still feels a little wild to me, seeing how far we've come as a game.
Well,
yeah.
Do you think Yanshu is weak, or she just self-nerfs by playing unrestrained all the time?
Oh, I think Yanshu is just kind of bad.
The Yan siblings suffer.
Oh god.
I think playing Musician Weifang last season made me realize that you don't need to have Fire Flame Blade to play Musician Dharma. And that's all Yanshua has going for her. Drift Ice Blade is terrible. Avalanche is pretty terrible. Flame Dance is definitely terrible. Her kid is just really bad.
Remember when Fire Flame Blade was contender for best P2 in the game?
Remember
Yeah.
when you remember when it was contender for worst Pikachu in the game?
No, because I wasn't around that long, but it really did suck in its original form.
We came a long way, my friends.
Going from the worst fate in the game to the best fate in the game to like average.
Can you do you know the deep lore? Subnova, can you recite the changes?
Yeah, so
Was
the
it?
original text for Fire Flame Blade was each of your attacks reduces 2 max HP of your opponent. Which, like, this sounds like it's a lot. In practice, what it meant was deal 2 damage.
Maybe. Maybe deal 2 damage.
It's
I
fine.
mean, Duan didn't exist at the time, to be fair, so it was usually 2 damage.
Yeah.
Sure, but I just kind of meant like if you're attacking and you actually do damage to them anyway.
Well, the Fire
Yeah.
Flame Blade triggers before the first instance of damage, so it's always 2 damage.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
A tier 2 ability that says deal 2 damage is not good.
No,
It's like
really.
half of a reverse bodybuilding, less than half. And
It
like,
also.
there
Yeah.
were like situations where you like reduce your opponent's max HP to 0 on occasion, mostly like with like unrestrained versus like Iron Bone or Sky Delicate Bracelet Long Yao. But like, it was not good. And then they buffed it to its current form, which is each of your attacks only reduces 1 max HP, but now every time you would play a card with the injured keyword, you always trigger the injured effect. Which is kind of crazy when you think about it. Like, early game, it means your Thunder Sword can never be blocked, your Flying Fang can never be blocked. And then late game, when you're doing Dharma stuff, it means like your Inspiration Sword, your Dragon Roam, your Flying Spirit Shade Sword, those will always get full value against any amount of block, against any amount of guard up even.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dragon Roam just punching through guard up like it's a joke.
Yeah, and most importantly, it interacts so goddamn well with wound in general. Like, if you don't know this, but the wound debuff itself, yeah, it interacts with injure effect. So, there's a problem there. If you hover over the wound keyword, you'll see the word injure,
Yes.
but it's not in red, which I have problems with.
Yes.
I have
But it is
severe.
notable that means that you can trigger wound through block with Fire Flame Blade and kill
Exactly.
people through any amount of block by just like hitting their wounds enough times.
This is
Yeah.
only relevant because it's always unrestrained.
Yeah.
True,
It's
yes.
so
We are the Unrestrained podcast. We do have to pay homage to our unrestrained origins.
We get
Yeah.
better every episode, guys.
Speaking of
Anyway, I think it's time we addressed the maybe the real elephant in the room, the best sigil in the entire game. We talked about Code Extension, which is probably the best current sigil. Let's talk about the best past sigil. It was so good that it had to get nerfed into the ground on day 1.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
Who wants to talk about Build Fortress?
You're the Tiger player.
I guess I am the Tiger player. I will talk a bit about Build Fortress.
Yeah,
The
sure.
most busted sigil that we have seen so far. So what Build Fortress did originally was it said for 2 turns, so like the turn you activate the sigil and the turn after that, at the end of your turn, convert all your defense into HP and max HP. So like baseline is like, okay, you're playing Mono Earth probably. It's a 5-element sigil. You're gonna make a bunch of defense and then you're gonna convert that into HP. This is good for 2 reasons. One, like it means HP is a better defensive layer than defense, obviously, because if they don't hit you, it doesn't decay at the end of your turn. And then 2, your defense being reduced is good for the scaling of things like Steep and Quicksand and Combined World and all that. So, like, on the baseline, like, it seems kind of fair. It's a good value sigil for Earth, but nothing too impressive. Where it really got broken was in combination with Heavenly Will Defy.
Oh god.
It's almost like Defy is a problem.
Yeah, it's a good thing that got nerfed, but so what would happen would be you would have a bunch of defense, and then your defense would all be converted into HP, which would trigger Defy. So let's say you have like 10 defense. Then you would deal 6 damage with Defy because 60% of 10. And then you probably played Combine World, so you'd immediately gain that 10 defense back. And then that would be another 6 damage with Defy. And then also, you probably played Earth Spirit Cliff. So when you lost that 10 defense, you dealt 10 damage to your opponent. So that'd be 22 damage for every 10 defense you have. And
Ooh,
obviously, you wouldn't really have 10 defense, it'd be more like 50, which means that you'd be dealing 110 damage with your 50 defense. And this was active for 2 turns, and was also giving you a bunch of HP. And
And the
scaling your
issue
quicksand.
is giving you defy triggers.
So basically what this was what if Mono Earth, one of the best defensive comps in the game, also got a better version of Tiger's Landslide that killed basically a turn faster, and it was accessible to everyone.
Okay,
Oh,
calling
God.
Mono Earth one of the best defensive comps in the game kind of implies that Mono Earth is good on anyone but Tiger, which
Okay,
is
fair.
a
I mean,
dangerous
it's good
situation.
defensively. The problem is that defense isn't enough. We do have to agree that like Combined World is the best single standalone
Oh yeah,
defensive card in the
yeah,
entire
for
game.
sure.
Yeah,
Well, maybe Rule Sky, but like it's good for different reasons.
Rule
I
Sky
do
isn't.
want to, speaking of Rule Sky, I want to talk about the board that never loses.
Well, yes.
Real quick before that, I should mention
Yeah.
Build Fortress did get nerfed, I think, on very early into day 2. It now only converts a maximum of 24 defense into HP, which means no more dealing 50 times 220% damage on turn 3. It's now a maximum of like 24, which ends up being, roughly speaking, I want to say like on the order of 55 damage, which is still good, but like not good enough that you want to pick Fortune Teller anymore. So the build is kind of dead now.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that sigil in play since then.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad, but at the same time, like good riddance. That was not okay.
No, it was not. But
That shit is okay.
board that never loses, just very quickly. Because of the defy nerfs, I've been seeing a few of them go comply.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that?
I mean, comply was always kind of okay in this board. I think the nerf is pretty significant. I think you are still supposed to go defy, but comply I think is better if you're doing specifically like Moonwater stuff,
Yeah.
where gaining more defense actually can translate into multiple hits with multiple mirror flowers if you're preserving the defense across turns. Whereas
Mhm.
defy is better at like immediately converting the damage. Comply can add up to more damage across many turns if you're playing multiple mirror flowers.
Mhm.
Is this, just to confirm for the audience, is this the board that goes Rule Sky, Defy, and then the gold Fortune Teller card in 3?
Rule Sky, Defy, Chainsword, Mirror, Giant Quinn,
When-
Fleeting.
Yeah.
And then Mirror Flower behind the fleeting?
Yes, Mirror
Yeah,
Flower
or
behind the
Chain.
fleeting, and either Detect Chi or the
The other one, the one that makes
everything is
defense.
unadvisable as your 8th slot on specifically Muifeng.
Actually, in fact, you don't need either of those anymore because you can just play a Sigil to get your defense turn 1.
This is true.
Yeah.
Like Control Sword.
Well,
Yeah,
Control Sword doesn't give you the defense turn 1. You do need to play the opener for that. But yeah, so let's talk about Control Sword.
Ugh, Control Sword.
I think what we've been learning this season is that the 3-slot sigils, the ones that like require every single one of your sigils to play, they're pretty darn good. Like we talked about Cothread Extension earlier. We can probably talk about Catch Cicada and Polaris a bit later, but right now we also have Control Sword in Sword Sect, which Abyssal, I guess you're probably the best equipped to talk about this.
Just from a naming convention, this is the one that chases.
No, this is the one that says when you gain defense, gain more defense and deal damage up to 15 times.
Oh, this one. Yeah, this is actually not really my purview. Because when I would play LCY, LCY is kind of a funny case because she can play boards that kind of resemble the standard kind of defy sword formation archetypes, but LCY when she has the right comprehends, doesn't actually need the defy to get damage payoff. She can play unrestrained and stuff instead. So what this means is that my sword formation play is kind of not actually up to snuff because my sword formation boards are all strange.
That's fair enough.
That is okay.
I mean, I guess I could talk about this one. I did play a fair bit of Mui Feng last season and a little bit early on in the season as well. So basically, and I think we mentioned this during like our season preview podcast too, but 15 is too big of a number. Like, this is what, 5 stats every time it triggers? Maybe a bit more if you play Comply or Defy. And if you multiply that by 15 times, that is 75 stats. And when you consider that like the expected number of stats you're going to get for 3 slots and tier 5 is like 36, roughly speaking, this is like twice as good as the expectation. Obviously, like we expect like the more synergistic sigils to do more than the just like generically good ones, but maybe not like twice as much more. And this is not even counting like the interaction with Defy or like the fact that the defense gets converted into damage with Mirror Flower, or the fact that you might be able to save the defense with Moonwater. And it's just like, yes, it's 3 slots, but it's kind of absurd for 3 slots. Like, another example is I've been seeing a little bit of the Painter sword formation actually return, and it's particularly crazy there because you're already playing Moonwater. This like intensifies your ability to turn 3 kill, and if you get enough chain swords, you can actually like play like mirror chain, and then like the last chain sword, because it adds defense so many different times, by the time you actually get back to chaining them, get back to the mirror and all the chains, you've added like 20 defense already, and the mirror is just hitting for 40 damage without any defense stacked up beforehand. Anyway, TLDR, it's a little silly.
Yeah.
There's definitely like, not to go too broad with this, but there's definitely like something to the fact that so many of like I mean, you could say it revolves around Defy, but so many of the most broken builds just like convert defense into offense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a pattern there.
I think the specific problems that rise from it are the ones that convert defense into offense without having to sacrifice, if that makes sense. Defy kind of passively does that for you, and that's a bit of an issue. But if you're taking time out of your turn to play a Mirror Flower, I feel like that's less of a problem. Or having your defense with Landslide and maybe not having a Combined World stack. Things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then running out of Marrow stacks.
Oh yeah, that too. That too.
Well, it always kind of felt to me like 5 Elements was balanced by the fact that they actually kind of are terrible at turning defense into offense.
For sure, yeah. Like even Landslide, while like very strong, still had very clear limitations.
The king himself.
And like this is part of the reason why there's like weird builds like Hard Bamboo Child or whatever, just because like any source of converting defense into offense is good because you have a card called Combined World, you know?
Yeah, you have the best defense adding card in the game, other than maybe Roll Sky.
Yeah, it's like they will go through any lens to just, do it. They just turn defense into offense. It will abuse a mechanic that is meant for protecting yourself, shielding yourself from harm to hurting others. There is some sort of I don't know, commentary there, but I can't quite put a finger on it.
Some irony. Speaking of defensively oriented builds, though, can we talk about one that doesn't turn itself into offense? Can we talk about Wangyou?
Oh shit!
Yes.
Yeah.
Specifically bracelet,
Brand new
but
Wangyou
long out.
rework.
So this is part of the recent patch of lots and lots of base game changes, and it changes dragon scale to say when taking destiny damage greater than 20, not 18, in battle, reduced to 20. After the battle ends, if your destiny is less than 20 for the first time, permanently upgrade one level 1 card in your deck, prioritizing your Immortal Fate card. That is, Long Yao's character cards, Prey Rain or Sky Delicate Bracelet. What do we think?
I think I'm very happy about this change. I feel like while Dragon Scale was like a very strong catch-all fate before, it was also kind of boring. Like a lot of the way it would end up playing out was like you would pick Musician, you would pick Recuperate, you would pick Recuperate, you would pick Recuperate Resonance, you would pick more Destiny, and like while it was very powerful and like I liked picking it, it did feel like a very like placeholdery fate in the same way that Cat Soul Blast kind of does. And I think having it like actually upgrade your bracelet for you does something like Long Yell really has like something that they kind of really needed because people don't really pick bracelet very much as a means to upgrade it, either like through finishing touch or enlightenment elixir. And just
Hmm.
kind of like breathe some new life into bracelet while also making Dragon Scale feel a little bit less boring to pick every game.
Hmm.
So,
Now, whether it's too good, we'll have to find out. But I think Long Yao, I think it might be a little bit pushed. Music, particularly on not upgrading bracelet at all, but actually on musician Long Yao, where you just use it to like upgrade a Rule Sky or a Chain Sword.
do you get to pick the how does the upgrade work? So it's
It is a random card that was in your deck that round, but if you have a character card, it picks a random character card first.
so you won't be able to control if it's a roll sky or something like that.
No, but
Yeah,
most of your other stuff is probably upgraded on that board already, is the thinking there.
Ah, it only hits level
Yeah.
yeah,
ones.
It.
Yeah.
yeah. It
Yes,
only
only
ever hits level ones.
Yeah,
You
okay.
have bracelet. You must play bracelet. After all.
Yeah, my first thought
I
is
think
that
the more
this
interesting way to use it is on bracelet, obviously. But I think the most powerful way to use it is probably just going to be traditional musician long Yao because that's the best long Yao.
yeah, that was my fear when this change came out. It's like it changed from 18 to 20, which I realize it is impactful, but it's feels like it's not that big of a numerical change. And then we got an extremely strong effect added on top of it.
Yeah.
Seems
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a big buff. I don't think Long Yao has been top tier this season, but I do not know if they needed this much of a buff. And I think we'll see how that ends up panning out and whether they like do some nerfs to them to kind of like offset the impact there.
well,
It is definitely really strong. I just
Yeah.
also think I'm going to really enjoy the way it plays. It definitely
Yeah.
does make Dragon Scale more interesting and do things other than make you live longer.
Yeah, Dragon Scale has always been, the boring one. We it has seen, some nicknames like Coward Scales, etc., etc. But now it's not just Coward Scales; it's just Tiger Tier 1. Okay, I know it's very uncharitable thing to say that, but yeah, it's rather reminiscent of, except for the fact that it interacts with Destiny and stuff. But you get the idea.
Yeah. No, I do think that like the treatment of like let's staple some more text onto stuff is something that I've been using a lot, and I feel like that's not necessarily good for the game long term. Like we've seen, like I'll go ahead and point to another patch note we had recently.
Uh-huh.
If you recall, the Fates Lytha's Cat, which is Lin Xiaoyu's tier 5, and Astral Divination Hexagram, which is Jiang Qiming's tier 5. They originally just like had their effect and nothing else. And then sometime a while back they were buffed to draw a card when you pick them. And
Oh
now
yeah.
just recently they were re-nerfed to lose one cultivation when you draw that card. So now they're still the same amount of cultivation on net, but they have this like additional text on there that like makes them a little bit better. It's like sort of like an in-between unbalancing there, but it does sort of like lead to complexity fatigue in the long term, or like all these fates have just all this like flavor text stapled to them, and it gets hard to keep track.
It is a little funny that we've entered the era of sticking -1 cult onto fates to balance them, as opposed to +1 cult onto fates to balance them.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
we did have a discussion about how staking +1 code into onto certain fates is kind of lame. Like it wasn't. I mean, +1 code. What is it gonna do? I know what it does, but we can't just keep doing this to other fates that don't see play. Like I don't know, Jiang Shiming's tier 2,
Wuzo's tier
Wuso's tier
2.
2, etc.,
That one was particularly
etc.
egregious.
I I am of the opinion that God, that they need a better way to balance these, but I am not a dev myself, so I can only unfortunately I can only raise concerns,
Yeah.
and it's my what I say is not entirely gospel except for other things, but that's not the point.
I mean,
But yeah,
you are a little limited. Okay, so like suppose you have a really unique special effect. Your only options to buff/nerf it are to completely rework the effect, unless the effect happens to have some numerical values on it, or you have to staple on like cult, HP, or destiny.
guess I never thought of it that way.
Or you can staple on activate wood.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. Yep.
So true.
On my Heptastar character.
Yes, true. I mean, Lee Man gets to activate Forest Guard. Why can't he activate Wood too?
Yeah,
He doesn't need to
yeah.
activate wood to play Forest Guard. Alright. Now we know where the next Leman buff is coming from.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Did you guys join Dark Sun Studios?
They have a new feedback section in the game. I can go and open up feedback and say, "Make Lee Man activate Wood Spirit, you cowards."
Oh yeah, we do have a feedback feature now. People, please use it to voice your complaints. Be reasonable though, because these people are human, I think.
The
Yeah,
side
be
copy pasta
reasonable.
in there.
Let Leman activate wood, but you can't let him activate fire.
Speaking of the feedback panel, we also have another new feature in the game, which is Yinterest. You have
Interest.
in-game social media where you can post about your exploits in the game, and no one cares.
But you can't write your own posts.
Hey,
No, the posts are pre-written for you. You just send the. You can talk
So,
about
like-
like winning games, or ask people to add you as friends, or even like make everyone jealous when you open a rare color style.
hey guys, I got a victory royale! Winner chicken dinner. Yeah, they
They
actually did
really
put
do say winner, chicken dinner.
They did put that
That
shit
one, I
in
think that one's the best.
you.
I kind of wonder, like, who decided that that would be the translation.
I wonder
Yeah.
what the original idiom was. That would actually be interesting to know.
Yeah, I'm curious, like, how loose are these translations?
If any of our
Yes.
listeners know what the winner chicken dinner interest message says in the original Chinese, please let us know. I'm very curious.
Why, yes.
As am I.
So the real feature here is that you kind of get this scrolling thing you can click on to get like deck ideas, like winning decks
Uh-huh.
from characters that you don't have to. So it's sort of like the automatic, like built-in deck suggestions, except it's like up to date with real things that are working in the current meta, right? So I think
Yeah.
there's
Then
kind
at
of a real
Counterpoint, you
feature
can
there
always
besides
filter
the
by rating.
memes.
Yeah, man. It's nice. It's nice. It,
Personally, though, I think for me, the system is always going to be the system where Surreal Memoir posts the side scripture every single day.
yes.
The scripture that is, for those of you who are not in the know, it's a scripture where Jiang Qiming takes 4 store cheese and plays a max side in every slot, and the description is a side copy pasta.
Side.
I believe it came to Red in a Dream.
Uh, I'm not sure. I don't know. I do have a dream about side, but it's definitely not side. No, it's just a
No,
reducer.
yours is like side hexproof formation, normal attack, hexproof formation.
Yes, indeed. That's the
Everyone
one.
remember to space out your hexproof cards.
Yes, exactly.
I do want to
Anyway,
transition.
we have been running a bit long. I think let's go ahead and talk about the last, like, I think there are two more sigils that I really wanted to point out, and then we should maybe like start wrapping up.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the two other 3-slot Heptastar sigils in Catch Cicada and I believe Heavenly Axis Reflects Stars, aka the Polaris sigil.
Yeah. Catch these hands.
First off, Catch Cicada. I think we were talking about this one in the preview podcast, and I think we were like mostly all in agreement. This one looked really good. Not sure if I'm remembering that right.
We agreed it looked good and also kind of niche.
Yeah.
Yeah, it turned out to not be that niche.
No, it was not that
we
niche.
were so wrong, I think.
It was maybe the best mid-game transit sigil in Heptastar.
Mm-hmm.
Largely due to its existence on P3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As
no. It was online way too early for how strong it was. And especially, I think Tianji made the best use out of it of anyone because of only traces letting you speed up your board cycling.
And there were definitely a lot of, like, there were also slightly too large numbers on the effects of that sigil, I think, with regards to
Yeah,
what it
no,
did.
the initial HP gain was, I believe, like base 8 on top of the healing it gives.
And there was I think they nerfed this, the first play post action cards. I think they
I don't think
changed
they
that
changed that. I think they only changed the HP
Did they
modifier.
not? Alright.
No, they changed the HP modifier from. Hold on, let me see the patch note. It used to be 6 on tier 3, 7 on tier 4, and 8 on tier 5. Now it's 2 on every tier.
yeah.
Makes sense.
Either
But, you know,
way.
it's like it's a full tier 2 bodybuilding of value. I know, like, you like kind of make fun of like these nerfs that are like 4 HP and whatever, but like it is significant. It's a full tier 2 fate. People don't respect max HP enough until like they take. I think Aquila, you were there for the stream where I took a tier 2 bodybuilding and then won like 3 or 4 fights in a row on the margin of the tier 2 bodybuilding.
Damn, alright.
We respect max HP in this podcasting household.
But yes, my stats are important, kids.
Eat
Remember
your
to
veggies.
Eat your vegetables, Muhu thinking.
yes, remember to build your bodies and eat your vegetables.
Brown square thinking.
But yeah,
My favorite 1 pixel Muhu emote.
yeah, we love Muhu emotes. His emotes are so nice. But yeah, as a sigil that you can get as early as like what tier 3, it sure is rather impactful. Because of all the tempo it provides. You know, I'm yeah, sure you can like make a build of it, but you know, we have talked about it to death, but yeah. God. Gain 1 plus 1 HP max HP for each point of damage dealt to the opponent. Yeah, that doesn't seem alright, I think. Especially as
Which
a
one?
sigil that again you get as early as T3.
Yeah, Cicada, yeah.
I think it's been mostly played on like Tenchuan HHH and not Wutsa post action, right?
I've seen
I
some
think that's
Wusa,
true,
so-
yes.
Some would
Wusa
sub
Wutsa
almost.
kind of has the problem where you can't really roll for it.
Oh, that's fair. I guess due to the way she plays, she just, you know, can't afford to spend as many rolls because you're not the Greek character. You're not a character with
Although,
extra lives.
It's also a
Wutsa did
defensive
get
sigil
like
that doesn't really work with Wutsa's, because usually Wutsa's post-action board is trying to like 5-turn kill people on tier 4, and it doesn't really like track with like what Catch Cicada wants you to be doing, which is like stalling out fights really long.
Uh-huh. I guess so, yeah.
Speaking of Wutsa post action, though, Act Underhand no longer costs Destiny to take, and Perfectly Planned gives you an additional 2 Destiny if you eat it, or an additional 1 exchange chance if you exchange it.
Never thought I'd see the day where Act Underhand was getting buffed, but here we are.
Well,
Yeah.
it's more like an un-nerf. Because
Still,
the Act Underhead nerf was kind of... I feel like it came like already after Wutsa's heyday. Maybe arguably in the same way that
and I
this
think
like
it came along I think it came along very early on in Muta's history.
the -10 Destiny.
Yeah, I thought that was like the first nerf they received.
I feel like it seems like it was the kind of thing that came along early because it's been there as long as I recall, and it kind of synergizes with the Perfectly Planned numbers.
You
It's
might be
all
thinking of the -10 Destiny on the Resonance, which used to remove the Destiny cost.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, for some reason I
They've
was
definitely
thinking.
gone back and forth on this a lot. Where it
Yeah.
didn't cost Destiny, and then it did cost Destiny, and the Resonance said no, it doesn't, and the Resonance said yes, it does, and now it just doesn't again.
Oh, you can see the source of my confusion. But
Yeah.
um,
I think they should give it post action, where if you took it last game, this game doesn't cost 10 Destiny anymore.
do we?
But you have a lot of chance of triggering it with Hexagram. All right, sorry, go on.
No. I was just gonna say, do you think this is do you like this change?
I do. I think Wutsa needed a little bit of love, weird as it sounds,
Yeah.
and especially post action.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
I
she.
feel like
Sorry, go
oh,
ahead.
go on. I was gonna say there's a running pattern of us saying I think this character that we all thought was really good needed a bit of a buff, strange as that sounds. It's getting a
I
bit.
think that's maybe a sign that Sigil Season is making the meta more healthy.
Uh-huh. I mean, we're speaking our own biases, right? Or we are we are being true to ourselves that we want this to happen because we like this. So it's fine. It's fine.
I mean,
Where are Nanggong Sheng nerfs?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nangang Sheng got nerfed by hexproof existing. I have literally not seen a single Nangang Sheng player all season.
Yes.
Maybe. I do think that Vine and Defy both getting nerfed in the same season is like exactly what we've been asking for ages, right?
Vine getting effectively nerfed and Defy getting actually nerfed. Yeah, pretty awesome.
Anyway, I think there's one last sigil that I feel like needs a particular look at, and then maybe we just like start wrapping things up. I think
Well-
Aquila, you're the best equipped to talk about this. So tell me about Polaris sigil.
Yeah.
Abyss wanted to say something earlier, so
oh, I just
whatever
wanted.
that is.
I just wanted to say for Wutsa, it feels like a little bad that Wutsa is not even the best exploiter of HHH, when like that's like her whole jam. You know what I mean?
I mean, they're the best when you find divination.
I guess, but
Well, when you don't find divination, they feel real awkward, especially now that Hexproof is in play and her master build is kind of like a lot more gutted than it used to be.
yeah, I mean, I just feel like you'd rather be Tan Chuan, right?
I don't know if I entirely agree with that.
Maybe I'm just not a Wutsa believer.
Yeah.
I think
I
Wutz is
mean-
really strong.
Yeah.
I think this segues into I really think the realest thing for like half of Hepta right now is star power. And we've talked about co-threat, but Heavenly Axis reflects stars, or the Polaris Sigil. It's also really, really good.
Yeah.
It has the effect of making all your deck slots star power. It's 3 sigil slots. Make all your deck slots star point, not star power, and make your Polaris chase the first time you play it.
Cool.
Now, in addition to speeding up standard Polaris boards by a turn, which is already pretty huge, it also allows for everyone's favorite turn one side.
Yeah. And
You do
we
need
have
either like a max heaven hex or an upgrade that only traces their store chi to actually get off the turn one side, or I
Yeah.
Or
guess fortune teller.
Deathlock Fulu.
We need Qi to gain
Or Divine
side.
Mock Bulu,
Or
My
be
Mock
We
Bulu
need
does
Qi
get you there.
Aqua.
or be Feng Shu.
Or
Oh.
Be Feng Shu. Yeah, that one's always an option.
Yeah, almost like there are a lot of different ways to make this turn one side, among other things.
Yeah.
But the more common use is just to make your Polaris chase. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, one of the long time issues with Polaris boards is that they're just very slow to set up. You're going to be doing nothing for 2 turns while you play your Polaris and your prop. And getting to do both of those things in 1 turn, in addition to maybe getting to do, like, slightly unusual things, such as playing a Polaris and an ultimate hexagram base in 1
Oh.
turn.
Oh yeah.
Just makes your deck feel a lot nicer to play and a lot less like you're sitting around and waiting to die in your first setup turns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Like. Mm-hmm.
it is definitely up there. I don't think it's as good as Code Extension. I don't think anything is as good as Code Extension. It is definitely up there.
And I
Yeah.
think it also synergizes well with Coaster Extension. The mix up there is really strong.
Yes, for sure.
Like
I had
a
a game
friend.
where I was junction with Store Chi, and I had the option to like turn one side, or turn 2 double side, or turn 2 double prop, or it's just like so many different options that makes it really hard for your opponent to like have an out to all of them.
And
Mhm.
this kind of leads into something I've been thinking, which is I really like what the Heptastar endgame feels like. And I think it might be the best in game right now. I haven't really played much else, but
I think the
at
Heptastar's
least
endgame has always been the best endgame, to be honest.
sure, but I would go so far as to say Heptastar is just the best sect right now.
I think I agree.
And I just love the endgame mix-up between Code Extension, Heavenly Axis Reflect Stars, Sacrifice to Thunder, random text sigils. It's really good. It is really, really good. And actually, something Subnova pointed out to me on stream, which I did not manage to see for myself, is that the Predicament Sigil can get you your Vine side without having to pick PM or getting hexproofed.
Oh shit.
So, Hepta is in a really good place right now.
I think just as we can agree that Hepta is really good right now, we can also agree that 5 Elements is still the worst sect.
Well, they weren't for approximately 1.5 days while Build Fortress
Yeah.
existed.
They
They were the best sect for 1.5 days and then back to garbage.
I swear you want us with this trend.
I don't know. Can we call 5 Elements the worst sect when Child is arguably was the best character last season?
Keyword was.
Yeah,
I
but
think-
not
Yeah, the word
many
"was" is critical here.
Okay, so
Last season they were the best.
you're only arguing for this season right now, not
Yeah. I mean, I
Okay.
think 5 Elements was not great last season either, and Child is like kind of propping them up really hard. I think
Well, they also
especially
had-
right now, I don't think any of the other sects are even as close to as bad as 5 Elements
Think
is.
about the way we were talking about Qi Wangyou last season, in addition to Child. I feel like that's a little unfair.
Yeah,
That's also fair, yes.
Kiwanya was like all over the place, right? You know, she can do so many things, especially with that, a nerf tier 4, which yeah. Boy,
Yeah.
age like fine, like poor milk. I don't like milk, yeah.
I think 5e definitely started last season as the best sect, at least, because Bones was everywhere. And
Yeah.
I think they were
Zinga
definitely
Prairie.
Zinga Prairie, everyone.
Bazinga.
Zinga.
Either way. I think it's no. It truly reflects the 5 Elements play style. Strong on 4 and then falls off on 5.
The tempo sect at its best.
God, they even have the best tempo in terms of seasonal progression. Can't believe it.
Amazing.
Messed up.
All right. Was there anything else we wanted to bring up before we wrap it up?
I'm all good.
I think
I'm
it's
all
basically
good.
everything. Like, we could talk about like the minutia of which sigils got like minor HP buffs and nerfs. We could talk about like Catgirl a little bit more if we wanted, but I think like that's all the major points. Any of you guys have anything you want to bring up?
Nah, I don't think so. I'm fine. I I think we have covered what we need to, at the top of our head, etc., etc.
All right then. Abyss, you're good as well.
Yeah, I think I don't have anything to wrap up in a neat bow, so I'm always good for more Yi Qian discussion. But I think for right now we can spare the listeners any
Why,
further
yes.
thoughts.
That sounds good to me.
All
Yeah.
right.
Well, thank
Well,
you all for listening to our podcast, and we will be back with another episode at some point in the future. This
if
is
you have
the Unrestrained podcast signing off.
any
Yeah.
feedback, please let us know. Thank you.
Yes. We will see you next time. Stay tuned, y'all.
And remember, don't let Astromove Side skip any episodes of this podcast.